Erev Tov, and we're here with the weekly Dvar Malchus shir, and we're still in Parshas Kisisa, not according to chronological order. Obviously, this week is the week of Shabbos Chazon, Parshas Devorim, but we're still in Kisisa, and we're on page 395, Ois Yud Aleph, and in the PDF file, we're on page 12. Also Yud Aleph 11. And the Rebbe goes on to say as follows: Mi Gimel inyonim elu befarshas Sisa. From the three elements that we find in the portion of Kisisa, yeshnei limud ba'avedas ha'adam b'chol hazmanim. We see that there's an instruction for every single Jew, every single human being, in all times. As we mentioned above, since this is a portion that we read once a year, therefore there is an instruction that we learn from this parsha for the entire year round. And how much more so when we are standing in the portion of Kisisa Atzmei itself. When we read and we have to live with Kol HaParsha, with the entire Parsha of Kisisa. Liyehudi nitan hakoyach, the Rebbe says as follows, that a Jew has been given the strength, lifel es kol ha'inyonim kulam, to bring about into activation all matters, all issues, mitchilosam v'atzefam, from the beginning until their end, the whole mashe ben time, and everything that is in the middle of the beginning and end. Me Aleph ad Taf, from the beginning till the end, the first Hebrew letter of the alphabet Aleph until the last Hebrew letter of the Hebrew alphabet Taf. Uvichlolos, and in general, kefisha nechlakim begimel ha'yisiyas harishonos Aleph beis Gimel, whereas this is divided up in the first three letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the letters Aleph, Beis, and Gimel. As we see that these three elements, these three concepts are expressed, beginning with the service of every single one of us on a daily basis. Miyad, kishener mishnose, immediately when a person wakes up from his sleep, kishenasa bria chadosha, when we become a new creation, hu oimer, the individual says, moide ani lefanecha hulu. Then we thank Hashem. We express our thanks to Hashem, before Hashem, etc. That you have restored my soul. Ha'alef, ha'yisod v'aschola, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the foundation and the beginning. Shel avidasav shel yudihu, of the service of every Jew, is habitul v'ha'idah, the self-nullification and the acknowledgement shaloi of the Jew leha kodesh baruch hu, to the Holy One, blessed be He. Ha'alef de'anechi, this is the aleph of the word anechi, the first word in the 10 Commandments in the Aseres HaDibros. Ad shekol mitziusei ha'alef de'ani, until the entire entity, the entire existence of the aleph, which is the aleph of ani, right, in the moide ani, shalei, of his, moide lefanecha, sheken ha, comes and acknowledges you, Hashem. Sheken ha'ani shel Yehudi, for, as we know, the ani, the entity of the Jew, gam kfi shenimtzo lemata, also as the Jew is here in this netherworld, hu davar echad ima ani v'anechi shel hamayla, is one united entity with the ani and the anechi, the I and the anechi, the Hashem himself, that is above. Yisrael v'kutrabrichu kol echad. Or as we see, and as is known, is brought in the Zohar, that the Jewish nation and the Holy One, blessed be He, are one entity. Uchamrumas b'tzuras eis aleph, and as is hinted to in the shape of the letter aleph, yud, from Yehudi lemata, there is one yud from below. This represents the Jew. The yud HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and a second yud which represents the Holy One, blessed be He, lemaila, from above. The kava mechabram, and a line in the middle that connects between the two, the Jew and the Eibishter. And as known that the simplicity of the Jew is one entity with the simplicity of atzmus, of the essence of Hashem. And the concept of pshitus, of simplicity, is expressed on a revealed basis when we recite the prayer Moedeani in the morning. Inyan Haida, which is the concept of acknowledgement, L'mayla mikol inyan Hashemus, which is above all concepts that have to do with the holy names of Hashem that we say during the day in davening and in brachas and so on. Shelachein, and therefore, Minhag Yisrael, it is the custom of Israel, Shekol b'nei Yisrael, that all the children of Israel, afilu yeladim ktanim b'yisrael, even young, very young children, aimri meideani, recite the meideani. And it's a good thing to go and to recite the meideani, even with people that are not only young, very young children, but even those that are young children. We're saying this just by the way. Young children, not only in age, but young children in knowledge of Judaism. Even a person that is in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and especially a person that might not be well, chas v'sholom. So there is a concept of reciting in the morning, when the person wakes up, or later on during the day, to recite the words of Moedeani, the 12 words that comprise of the prayer of Moedeani, and this brings about the chayus. This brings about the life source of the individual to be revealed and to be revived. And that's just by the way. But let's go on. Yeser mizu, and furthermore, afilu tevas meided, even the word meide, tefelo uvetela el ha'alef shaloi ani, is secondary and nullified to the aleph of the word ani. Sheken ha'ikar kan lichura, for as we see, the main thing here at first glance is tevas ani, is the word ani. Kimyad kishener mishenose, for immediately when a Jew wakes up from their sleep, yeshna lechol reish mitziusa shel ha'adam, there is first and foremost the existence of the entity of the human being, the Jew. Imra machevorim v'shasagidim, with 240 limbs, 48 limbs, and 365 sinews. Verakla achariz hu ha'ani oise peula, and only after this is the individual an ani, an entity that can carry out any action here in this mundane world. It's beginning with the reciting and the action of saying that we acknowledge and we nullify ourselves to the Holy One, blessed be He. And nevertheless, says the Rebbe, what do we say actually? What is the order of the prayer? The order of the prayer is, first we say moide, we acknowledge, and only afterwards we say ani. We express the fact that we are an entity that just came about into the existence so that we're able to say, and we're able to carry out the mission, the action of reciting the Moedeh Ani. But no, first we say Moedeh, and only afterwards we say Ani. Ve'lo Ani Moedeh. Ki ad k'dei kacha ani shel Yehudi kosher. Im HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it is to this extent that the Ani, that the essence, the entity of the Jew is connected with the Holy One, blessed be He. Shehagam shebizman kedemes mitzius ha'ani af al pi ken, even though in chronological order, when the person wakes up, what comes first? The Ani basically comes first. Because if there's no entity of a Jew, so there's no one that can recite anything, let alone Moedeh Ani. Afal piken, nevertheless, says the Rebbe, Ha'ani hu techet b'matzav dehodo lefonecha. The Ani is immediately in a state of hodo, acknowledgement, lefonecha, before you, Hashem. And since we're in immediate state of acknowledgement, so we can come to the moedeh, the acknowledgement, even before we recite the word Ani, giving ourselves that state of metzius, of existence, and an entity of our own. The Rebbe goes on to say, and after this comes the morning blessings, utfilas shacharis, and the morning dav, and the morning service, and from the synagogue we go, the prayer hall, we go to the study hall. Aleph and this is the general contents of the letter Aleph, the first and foremost thing that we acknowledge during our day of life, in our everyday service. After this, Ba'ha comes the letter Beis, in the daily service of a Jew. Yotza odom lefa'alei, v'lavidasei ad orev. A person has gone out lefa'alei, to his activity, v'lavidasei, and to his service ad orev, in the evening. This is something that we say in the Borchi Nafshi, which was recited today in the davening after Shir Shel Yom. Yeah, in the prayers that we say for Rosh Chodesh, the Borchi Nafshi, and it states that a person goes out to his activities and to his service adei arav, until nightfall. Who he, the Jew, goes out mi beis hakneses uveis hamedrash, from the prayer hall, from the synagogue and the study hall, la'elam, to the world, mundane physical world. Abeis, the Bereishis bara gamer, which is represented by the letter Beis, which represents the verse Bereishis bara, in the beginning Hashem created. In order to do his work, his service, during the entire day, that we should go and we should instill in our mundane and physical service, we should instill and we should bring about the revelation of Hashemliness in our physical mundane actions, a daily service. The engarming and the dealing in b'inyonei ha'olam, in the matters of the worldly matters, in a manner that our business should be with emunah, with belief or trust in Hashem, and basically saying that everything should be in an honest way. All our business should be carried out in an honest way. After this, at the end and the culmination of the day, Gimel, comes the letter Gimel, the completion and the end of the daily service of the Jew. When a person does a self-accounting of the soul, the sach and the total, the whole inyan of all his matters and all his actions, b'meshech hayom, that he dealt with during the day, or vichlolos, and in general, who oises b'tfilas arvis, he does this in the in the evening service, ad l'siyuma, to the end of the evening service. Ach tzadikim yedu lishmecha gamer. As we state at the end of the evening service after Aleinu L'Shabeach, that all the righteous shall acknowledge your name, etc. Hashem, the acknowledgement and the thanks that we express to Hashem, like we state in the morning, that we acknowledge and thank Hashem for giving back our soul with kindness. But this Maide, this Ach Tzadikim Yedu, this Maide Yedu, is in a manner of the completion and the ending and the culmination of our daily service for today. Add to the extent Kriyas Shema Sha'alamita, the Shema that we say before we go to bed. And we give ourselves over in completion to the Holy One, blessed be He. Like we say in the Shema, that we place our spirits in the hands of the Holy One, blessed be He. And similarly to this, we see these three general concepts in the service of the Jew throughout the lifetime of the Jew. That the Jew should have long and good years, long days and good years. The beginning of the service, the middle of the service, until the completion and the culmination of the service of the Jew. And much more so, in our generation, the last generation in exile and the first generation in the redemption, after we already have the greatest amount of the Ma'aseinu v'Avodaseinu, our actions and our service to Hashem, because all this has accumulated from all these years, all these 2,000 years of Golus, all of the actions and the deeds and the service of all the Jewish nation has accumulated. The Bnei Yisrael b'meshech kol haderos, of the children of Israel throughout all the generations, the Hashonim shelifnei zeh, and also the years before this. The Cha'es simu kvar gam es haberurim, and now we have also ended the sifting, the last sifting, ha'acharenim, and elevation, the Ka'es ha'adgoshahi, and now the Rebbe comes and tells us, what are we stressing? Our service, our actions, our deeds? Be'ikr, the main thing is, ulechol hareish, and first and foremost, al siyum u'shleimus u'gmar ha'aveda. We are talking about the end and the completion and the culmination of our service. And what is this? The Rebbe comes and summarizes lehovi es Gimel, to bring the Hebrew letter Gimel, the Geula hamitis v'shlema, of the redemption, the Geula, the true and the complete redemption, the Geula which starts with the Gimel, b'feil mamish, in actuality, and it should be teichef umyad mamash, immediately now, b'tei vanir vanigle, with the complete victory, as we heard earlier in the story, of all our soldiers and our security forces, and the complete healing of all those that were injured or and wounded, and spiritually physically, mentally, or spiritually, and the immediate return of all the hostages, in a manner of happiness and joy. And this should all be with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlitah Melech HaMashiach on a good and revealed basis, b'teiv hanir v'nigle, mitoch simcha v'tuv levav, with happiness and joy of the heart, b'mnuchas hanefesh u'mnuchas haguf, with tranquility of the soul and the body, v'oid v'u'ikeh teichef miyad mamish mamish mamish. And as we know, we stressed during the 9 days and the 3 weeks, Tzion b'mishpat tipode v'shavea b'tzedakah, Zion, Eretz Yisrael, Jerusalem will be redeemed by the study of the laws of the Torah, as we learned earlier, the laws of the Hilchos Beis HaBechira, the Beis HaMikdash, v'shavea b'tzedakah, our returnees, all the Jews of the diaspora, shall return to Eretz Yisrael, to the holy city of Yerushalayim, to the Har HaBayis, to the Temple Mount, to Beis HaBechira, to the third and the eternal, chosen Beis HaMikdash, Teichef Umiyad, Mamish, Mamish, Mamish. Yechi Adonenu, Moreinu v'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, Chai v'Kayam Lo'elam Voed. Amen.